I'm going to tell you a little bit more about my experience with chemotherapy. It's today is one of the most unpleasant days my treatment was on. Was always on Tuesdays, so that because you get certain medicines to protect you from the effects of the drugs. Wednesday and Thursday were not so bad, but of course at some point those protective drugs, including cortisone, wear off, and you're left with the side effects of the 5-fluorouracil or whatever the drugs you're receiving. I use drugs in the most widest sense. These are, as I said, cytotoxic compounds that are there to kill cells that are reproducing themselves. Primarily, of course, one wants to get rid of the transformed cancer cells. Karin took the pump, disconnected me from the pump yesterday, and I'll show you the hardware that's involved in this sort of thing. It's down here, which I think is fitting to be in with my tools here somehow. See if we can get a little bit closer there. Yeah, and I'll show you the individual parts of this. So there we are. We use a little spray bottle of disinfectant because you, of course, have to work as sterilely as possible. This is the pump. As I said, it's just a bottle. And you can see inside the empty balloon. It's on a rod in the middle there, and it's connected to me through this 2mm Tygon hose here, or it would be. It's actually connected to this cannula here. Yeah, I guess you can see that now, yeah. It's a needle that goes in through the skin in my chest here into the port, and it has also a Tygon hose attached to it that is then attached to the pump hose. When you remove this, you have to first use a cannula and a syringe, and you inject some sodium chloride solution, salt solution in to clear the port, and then you have another syringe that contains heparin that will keep the blood in your port from coagulating. After that's in there, then this cannula can be just pulled straight out. It's kind of an unpleasant, it's not really painful, but it's a little bit unpleasant, of course, to have someone stick a needle through your skin and then pull it back out again, but it's really not that bad. This part of it is actually pretty harmless. The chemical part of it is, or the pharmaceutical part of it is probably the, well, it is undoubtedly the unpleasant part. As I said, oops, way out of focus now. Come on, camera, what are you doing? Hello? Oh, there we are. As I said yesterday, every chemotherapy and every cancer is different, and that's why my experience here is just one particular experience. I was fortunate in general at having a colon tumor that could be removed with a part of the intestine, so that the likelihood of any of the tumor remaining in my body was relatively small. When that primary tumor is gone, the lymph nodes that are removed are looked at by a specialist who determines whether there are any cancer cells in those lymph nodes, and if there are, then then it's recommended that you take part in a chemotherapy program, and that's where I was. You go to if you're told that there were cancer cells in the excised tissue that had been removed, then you're recommended to go to an oncologist who is a specialist in treating tumors, and he sits down at a computer with you and he runs a program and puts all of your data into it, and then he can tell you how the percent probability that you will get another tumor, or actually that you will die of cancer, is really what it is. If you don't do the chemotherapy, and what the probability will be then if you do take chemotherapy. In other words, what is the improvement in the probability that you're going to not die of cancer? I did this, and my data were about the following. If I didn't do the chemotherapy, I had 17% probability of dying of cancer, basically. If I did the chemotherapy, that percentage was reduced to 10%. So it's a 7% increase through the chemotherapy. It didn't sound like much, but on the other hand, 7% is 7%, and I decided to try it. I thought, I'll take the chemotherapy, and if it's too unpleasant, I'll just quit. The 7% gain isn't that impressive. It wasn't as, like I said, it wasn't as unpleasant as I had worried about it being or thought it might be. And so I went through it, and I've done the 6 months, and I'm done with it. If you have to do this thing, or if you decide to do it, I would say, because it's your decision, the doctor can't decide for you. The physician can only tell you what the like I said, what the benefit of doing the chemotherapy will be. And if you decide to go with it, then go with it. Having spoken with a number of people who have done this before me, and at the same time that I was doing it, I think that having a positive attitude about life and about the therapy itself is very important. It's important not to concentrate on the therapy itself. I think you don't want to become an expert in chemotherapy. That isn't going to benefit you. You want to know what's going on. It's a good idea to keep an eye on the the bags of chemicals that are being. You should know what you're supposed to be getting, and making sure that the nurse is connecting you up to the right thing. One of the patients that was being treated when I was in treatment stopped all of a sudden and said, "Wait a minute, I'm not supposed to get that stuff." And sure enough, the nurse had made a mistake. So it's a good idea to keep to keep an eye on what's going on, but at the same time, try not to become too much of a specialist in this business. You don't want to spend the rest of your life thinking about the possibilities and difficulties of chemotherapy. I've had a good time in these last months in spite of the unpleasantness. The unpleasantness is there, there's no doubt about it. You feel kind of sick much of the time. It's like, unfortunately, it's a little bit like having the flu and a hangover at the same time. Not really a very pleasant thought, I guess, for most of us. At least when you have a hangover, if you've enjoyed the drinking the night before, then you had that much enjoyment. This you don't really get that out of. But after all, you're doing it to try to improve your opportunities for your health and for living a little longer, and that's good to it's good not to forget that. It's good to remember why you're doing it. Also, as I said yesterday, and I will repeat today, it's really important to remember that it's only for a limited time. In my case, 6 months, and it's over with now. I'm feeling not very well today, but I know that tomorrow I'll feel better, and the day after better, and then in 3 weeks or so I'll be over the main effects of these chemicals. What remains to be said? Remaining positive, as I said, this is very important in any illness. It's quite obvious. You don't want to become a victim. You don't want to feel like a victim. That is a very poor way to improve your health. It's best to just understand that these things happen. They're going to happen to almost everyone, something similar. And many of us at our age have had plenty of experience with illness and hospitals and doctors, and treating a cancerous tumor or treating the body after one has had a tumor removed is just part of what has to be done if you're in the unfortunate situation of having a tumor at all. With that, I think I'll stop this video or end this video and end this little series of talks about chemotherapy. In any case, as I said, I'm going to put some more videos up. I have some projects that I'm interested in showing. One of them is this box that I'm building, or the box that I built actually, and also another is is coming up. I will put up the work we did on sanding the floors in this house. It was quite a big job. It was a very big job, much bigger than I had actually expected, and turned out very well. We're very pleased with the results. Thanks very much for watching. If you're interested, again, I hope I didn't offend anybody with these, and I hope they're appropriate for YouTube. We'll be talking to you again soon. Bye-bye. Something else to be aware of that may not be apparent or obvious. These chemotherapeutic drugs that we take have effects on the psyche as well, not just on your body. You don't just feel bad. You get weird, weirder than usual. One of the things I've noticed is that I don't normally tend to have I tend to try to control my temper in any case, but I find it very difficult. Little irritations cause me to become very negative very quickly. Just dropping something on the floor it can make me furious. It's important to be aware that that's not your normal being, but it's a result of these chemicals that are in your body, and you should forgive yourself as well as you can for whatever takes place, and also try to make those around you who will experience this sort of thing, try to make them aware of the fact that it's not an excuse. It is the way it is. You tend to get nervous, very nervous, and also, like I say, small irritations can make one quite negative very quickly. So it's important to remember that all of these effects that are temporary, and it's important to remember they are temporary. They go away when the drug leaves your body, but it's important to know that they're there and they're causing these problems. And also, some people, I guess, tend to become depressive. It's good to try to remind yourself that this is not because of the disease, it's because of the treatment that you're getting. All of these things I'm concentrating on these things to remind people that doing chemotherapy is something that you do to increase your health and eventually your lifespan, and you have to put up with some less than pleasant side effects of it. Thanks for watching.